Have you ever heard of rent paid with a stack of cash heavier than the furniture? Paychecks handed out twice a day because by nightfall they were worthless? Shops changing prices between breakfast and lunch, then again before dinner? That isn't fiction. It's what happens when money forgets what it's for. Welcome to Money Lore. Today we follow the Great Inflation, how prices rewrote history in Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, and Argentina, and what their lessons demand from us now. Prices don't just change receipts, they change behavior. They turn savers into beggars and debtors into winners. They take tomorrow's plans and make them today's panic. Inflation isn't a chart, it's trust breaking, quietly at first, and then all at once. We begin in a place that believed it was too educated, too modern, too proud to collapse. Germany, after the Great War. Reparations, deficits, a government borrowing from the future to pay for yesterday. So it printed. At first, the presses felt like relief, wages met, bills covered, crowds calmer. Then the prices noticed. A mark that once bought a meal now bought a crumb. Soon, salaries were paid twice a day because 2 hours mattered. Workers sprinted from factory floor to bakery line before the numbers changed again. Postage stamps were overprinted with new zeros. Ledgers filled with digits that outgrew the paper. Wheelbarrows carried notes, not goods. But the real story wasn't the wheelbarrows. It was the kitchen table. A month of rent paid with a pile of paper taller than a chair. A grandmother's savings dissolved, not by a thief at midnight, but by policy at noon. People with debts survived. People with cash died poor. And when a country learns that money expires, it stops believing in tomorrow. We call it hyperinflation. They called it hunger. And the vacuum it left did not stay empty. When prices destroy faith, the loudest promise wins, no matter who makes it. Weimar learned the hardest lesson of all. When money dies, the center goes with it. Now skip a century and cross a continent to Zimbabwe. Farms seized, output falling, the tax base shrinking. The answer chosen was the oldest one in the book. Print. Print to pay salaries. Print to pay allies. Print to pay for yesterday's printing. The spiral tightened. Prices doubled, then doubled again, then leapt by the hour. $100 trillion note became a souvenir, not a currency. Shops refused cash and asked for fuel, sugar, US dollars, anything real. Teachers were paid in bills they spent immediately or starved tomorrow. Banks remained open, accounts remained full, lives remained empty. And yet the pattern was familiar. Those who held goods, skills, or foreign currency survived. Those who trusted the paper sank. Zimbabwe didn't only lose money, it lost the habit of believing the morning price. Then comes Argentina, where inflation didn't explode. It endured. Not a fireball, but a tide. Sometimes slow, sometimes fast, never still. In the 1990s, Argentina tried to chain prices to the US dollar. 1 peso, $1. For a while, belief returned. Imports got cheaper, confidence rose. But the chain was heavy. Debt piled up. Growth stumbled. Politics bent. When the peg broke, the banks locked their doors. Corralito. Frozen accounts. A promise shattered on live television. After that, inflation became a language. The official rate, the blue dollar. Price tags vanished, replaced by whispered quotes. Paychecks chased groceries and never caught them. Every few years, a new plan, a new minister, a new name for the same problem. People adapted. They bought dollars the day they were paid. They stocked food. They invoiced in a currency they could trust. They learned to surf a sea that never rests. 3 countries, 3 forms of the same failure. Weimar, sudden collapse. Zimbabwe, hyperinflation as policy. Argentina, chronic inflation as lifestyle. Different speeds, same engine. What flips the switch? It's never just printing. It's production falling while promises rise. It's governments choosing today over tomorrow. It's central banks financing what voters won't. It's the quiet decision to make money cheaper than truth. Once that decision is made, everything you think you know about fairness reverses. Savers are punished. Debtors rewarded. Wages chase prices and never catch them. Contracts become jokes. Planning becomes guessing. Trust becomes a luxury. But if inflation steals, it also reveals. It shows you what counts when numbers don't. In Weimar, foreign currency, food, and gold kept power. In Zimbabwe, dollars and diesel were money. In Argentina, the unofficial rate told the real story, and the street set the price. The lesson isn't nostalgia for a metal standard that won't return. It's discipline. You can't spend what you refuse to earn. You can't print away a shortage of bread. You can't legislate confidence. And you can't inflate your way to prosperity without deflating someone else's life. So how do these stories end when they finally end? Always the same way, by admitting reality, a budget that matches output, a currency that stops lying, a central bank that refuses to be the wallet of the state, and a population allowed to protect itself while the medicine works. Sometimes that means austerity, sometimes dollarization, sometimes a hard peg backed by more than a speech. None of it is painless. All of it is cheaper than the alternative. Because inflation is a tax you can't vote on. It punishes the old, the careful, the honest, the people who believed. It rewards the fast, the connected, the already wealthy. It turns neighbors into rivals and policy into blame. Look around. When governments promise everything and interest rates pretend it's free, when deficits are permanent and growth is optional, when the cure for the last crisis becomes the cause of the next, you're not watching an anomaly. You're watching a rhyme, and the rhyme always points to the same shelter. Hold what can't be printed. Learn what can't be automated. Own what people still need when labels change, but hunger doesn't. Land, skills, energy, relationships. Not because they make you rich tomorrow, but because they make you unbreakable when tomorrow's price arrives. Weimar showed what happens when money dies quickly. Zimbabwe showed what happens when it's killed on purpose. Argentina shows what it's like to live with the body for years. 3 fates, 1 map. If the price of truth in your country is rising faster than the price of bread, act like the people who survived. Diversify out of the story. Keep part of your life outside the system. Never confuse a number for a promise. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History has the answers, and Money Lore will show you where to look.